Okay, let me ask you this. One, do you think the NBA owes you reparations? And what are your thoughts on reparations for Black people today?
Well, first of all, and I think when we look at, let's start with the NBA.
Sure.
Mahmoud Abdul Rauf
Mm-hmm.
should get redressment for what he went through. What that will be, what it looks like, that all stands to, that's arbitration or what have you. Same thing with my case. One of the things when I look at this whole discussion of racism and that and the like, it never seems like they bring the people to the table who racism truly affected
Mm-hmm.
in the terms that people on a regular level could envision.
Mm-hmm.
Being that not able to earn a paycheck when you know that you're qualified, knowing that you're from Mahmoud, knowing that your spiritual beliefs hinder your ability to earn a living and have a legacy within what God gave you from a talent in.
Mm-hmm.
So when I look at this whole discussion with the NBA, they need to sit down with us and come to that should be the starting point. Because for me, I know that now in the hindsight and studying Colin Kaepernick's case against the NFL, I saw the impact that his Players Association had within the conversation. Within our conversation, our players union was actually in collusion with ownership. So what I say the same thing today is that as I sit here and I watch billionaires as young African American men to use their talent, that's the first time in the history of the planet, man. Every other time it's been, this is what y'all going to do. Now it's a matter of we have a position and a platform to speak from and an opportunity to show the African American woman
Mm-hmm.
leadership. So it bothers me today when our brothers won't walk away from the game, but Maya Moore will.
Mm.
That a sister will lead the
Uh-huh.
WNBA on top of the game and has the courage and the courage and conviction to know that she's part of a larger. And
Got
that's where the larger of us right now is controlled by ESPN, ABC, and Disney.
it.
And
Mm.
they have controlled this narrative to such a degree that they've marginalized us as a people.
Mm.
And when you do that, you leave a bitter taste in people's mouths. And what you're going to see right now is you're going to see there's an energy and a consciousness going on around the planet that's never been here.
Mm.
So those who are in control, and then when I say control, I'm talking about the NBA ownership right now. Those who are in control know that it's been white supremacy racism since the institution of the National Basketball Association. Now, you've come to realize that you cannot operate without us. Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier and in some effect broke the black economy.
Mm.
I'm saying, I'm saying in this day and time, if those brothers don't go play in Orlando, and should the ownership or should the board of governors tear up the collective bargaining agreement, for the first time in history, we have the catbird seat in negotiating that 85% of the league is African American,
Mm-hmm.
and of the top 10 players, it's us. So economically, economically, that's a force, but that ain't the real force. The real force is the African American woman, and that we have the opportunity right now to prove to our woman our worthiness to come back into the community as that vanguard for security, that vanguard to take the message out. But in fact, the messaging is coming from the sisterhood. It always has. We look at our enslavement. We look at this reparations. They will never give us reparations. Let us stop that. Let us stop that. Let us stop the nonsense, because the nonsense is the fact that if you had to give it, you'd have to give it to you. Every nation on the face of the earth has to step to the table. And that is not reasonable to me, because I know it's not palatable to those who are white supremacists who control the 1% wealth in this nation and on the nations
Mm.
all over the face of the earth. So this is a special plea. We lost yesterday afternoon in the city of Chicago. A
Damn.
20-month-old baby boy was shot.
Mm.
And that's what I write right here. Shoot hoops, not people. You know what I'm saying, man? And at which point in time we're marching when the police are killing us. but we're not marching when our woman is feeling the pain of every murder that occurs. Every single one ventures back to her. And then we talk about reparations, but we can't talk about reparations until justice is done for those who are affected the most. And nobody's been affected the most by the policies of this nation than the sisters. You know what I'm saying? And in that, if we follow this thing closely, we see that when the talking heads in the media, when a Black woman, Sandra Bland, Breonna Taylor, they want to get that off the scene real quick. And then we as a people, we march like crazy when the brotherhoods, but we're not saying that the generational that comes from our woman is being so pushed to the side, that because they understand that if this happens, if the Black woman says that this is up, it's up. If they don't work, like we asking the brothers not to work, I ask sisters, what would happen in America? Just reason with me for a second.
Sure.
What happens in America? I know what happens in the city of Chicago if Black women don't go to work in Chicago. And we look for justice. We're looking for justice every day. However, I understand this is the factor of Black America, is that probably 65 to 75% of our household, all of the breadwinners are sisters. Now, how do we do this in a measure where we can have the family come back together? Because one of the things that they want to try to put on us is that this violence within our communities is pathological, when in fact it's institutional. And we don't want to get to the institutions that affect the death and murder and mayhem in my community. So for every murder, we should track down the weapon that committed it, whether it's illicit or whether it's licit. If it's a policeman that kills a Black man like Laquan McDonald, we need to go to that arms manufacturer and sue them for all that they're worth, because not that Black lives, see, this whole thing has been labeled down, taking a knee. Me too. Black Lives Matter. But the substance, the organization of it isn't existent. So everybody is energetic, but the energy is just one of reaction, response. I'm listening